As a mom of two in her 30s, it feels like time is the most precious thing we have at the moment. And it sometimes also feels the hardest to manage. Our 30s and 40s have been called the rush hour of life, which as a 32-year-old mom, I can absolutely feel. But there are some tiny habits I've discovered that truly save me time and help me manage a bit better all the different areas of my life that I want to prioritize in this season of life, whether that's my family or growing my business. Habit stacking. I've come across habit stacking when I read the book Atomic Habits, which is one of my favorite books. And it really made me realize how if we take a habit that we already do in our days and we add on top of it another habit that we want to build, then it's going to be so much easier to not just remember to do it, but to also make it seem a bit more effortless because we just integrate it seamlessly into our routine. For example, it's become such a routine thing for me to put dishes away in the dishwasher as I'm cooking dinner. I'm gonna put, the pots and pans I've finished with or the plates, I'll put them in the dishwasher as I'm cooking. The utensils, I'll put spices away once I'm finished putting them in the food. And this way, when I finish cooking the meal, then it's not gonna be a whole explosion in the kitchen to tidy up. It's just a few things here and there. In the morning, for example, I will usually empty the dishwasher of all the clean dishes while I'm making my coffee or making breakfast. It's just stacking those habits. I already make that coffee every single morning anyway, so I might as well add another habit on top of that. That just becomes routine. It becomes something I do without even thinking. I know it sounds silly, but having an empty dishwasher to start the day really helps me set up for a good day because I'll have space to put dirty dishes in throughout the day and things just won't pile up on the counters. Keep a clutter-free workspace, regardless of where you work from. For me, I generally work from either my dining table, sometimes from the sofa, sometimes from the kitchen table. It really depends on the day, but because I work from home, obviously this is my workspace. And so I really try my best to keep it clutter-free because it helps so much with not just my productivity, but I'm less likely to get distracted by different tasks I need to do and piles of paperwork I need to tackle. Because if my table is covered in those and I just have to shuffle them around to get my work done, then it's just not the right mindset for me to start my work. And I learned this the hard way. And it's also things like keeping all of my work things in one area, like for example, all of my camera gear. It all goes in one basket in our TV unit, and this way I have everything in one spot. When I want to film, I know exactly where to find everything I need. Prep the night before. I'm gonna be honest, I don't always do this, but on the days that I do, it's a game changer. Obviously, it depends on how tired I am, but when I do take the time the night before to set out my kids' clothes for the morning, just put them in a spot on the landing so they're all ready for them in the morning. When I make sure all the shoes are ready at the door, their backpacks all ready for school and nursery, my outfit may be picked for the day, any of those little things that I usually do in the morning. If I do them the night before, our mornings run so much smoother. I feel less stressed because I know we're already ahead of the game. I know everything's ready and set to go. And so I can be more patient with my kids. I can, just give myself a bit more time to get ready. And it feels like a much better place to start my day rather than rushing around trying to frantically get everything ready. The Sunday review or the Sunday rule. This is something I try to do every single Sunday, and it's become such a habit that I just do it without even thinking. But there are a few tasks I do on a Sunday that help me set out for a productive week that runs smoother. Firstly, I will do our weekly meal plan, and this means just me sitting down on my phone and putting in there 5 different dinners that I'm gonna cook for the next week. That's my meal plan. It's as simple as that. I don't plan more than 5 because sometimes we'll have leftovers, sometimes we'll go out to eat at the weekends because we're usually quite active at the weekends and going out and doing things. And then I will go into the Tesco app, which is where we get our groceries, and I will add all of the items I need for those meals into our food shop and then prep that so that it gets delivered the next day. And also on a Sunday, I will do a brief review of my week ahead. So I will look at my calendar, I will look at everything that's coming up, both work-wise, like any videos I'm going to film, and I just have a look to see what our schedule looks like that week, what things the kids have got going on at school or nursery, and just anything that I need to be aware of. And having a quick look through my upcoming week is really helpful just to kind of prioritize the things I will do every day and just to make sure I don't miss anything. And I also find it really helpful to create a second brain. I've heard this term so many times and it made so much sense to me. I'm more of a type A person, and I have to confess, I have been known in the past to plan what I need to plan and to have lists of to-do lists. But what I realize is that I just need to simplify the process if I'm going to keep it up while staying sane. This is where I find it super helpful to sit down and plan my weeks ahead using Akiflow, which is a productivity app for time blocking. And thank you to Akiflow for sponsoring this part of the video. With Akiflow, you can save hours every single week. Akiflow gathers all of your productivity tools into one place, so you can easily keep track of everything at a glance. For example, I've connected my Gmail, so I can turn any emails into tasks at just a click of a button. And I've also connected my Notion, so I can sync up any tasks that I create there and make sure I time block them into my week. I love that you can create checklists within each task, and there's nothing more satisfying than ticking those off. And they even have an AI co-pilot that can help you streamline and suggest ways that you can make your days run smoother. I love that I can color code my days into this beautiful rainbow, and I can have an overlook of my calendar and everything that's coming both in my personal life and my work life. I can see everything by week, by month, by day, depending on what I'm trying to do. And you can also use stats to see how your time has been split between tasks, which I find helpful to optimize my schedule for the future. You can find a link to Akiflow in the description box if this is something you need help with. Remove app notifications. I did this a few years ago and it has been a game changer. As someone who is on social media a lot, obviously I have this YouTube channel, I run an Instagram, and I get so many notifications and emails and Slack notifications. It can really pile on, and I have reduced my app notifications to a bare minimum. Everything unnecessary is disabled, so I've disabled Instagram notifications, YouTube, pretty much any social media. I don't even get email notifications. I only keep the really important things, messages and calls that might be from school or doctors or whatever. But anything unnecessary has to go because I find it so distracting. Like, for example, if I'm trying to film a video and I'm constantly getting notifications on my phone or watch or from all these devices around us, it can really pull our attention and distract us from what we're trying to do. And so I find that if I am constantly seeing those little pings on my phone, I'm less likely to film a coherent video. I'm more likely to just get distracted, get on my phone and end up scrolling for a few hours instead of finishing what I'm trying to do. And I'll be honest, at first that sounded so extreme to me. Like, how could I not have notifications? I'm gonna be missing everything that's going on. And it turns out it's not that bad. Like, everything will be there when you're ready to check it. And when I want to check my Instagram, I can easily go on and do that and I won't miss anything. So if you haven't tried it, give it a try because you might actually enjoy that freedom that it gives you. Outsource or delegate. This is something I'm trying to get better at because I'm definitely someone who tends to just go on and do everything by themselves, and not necessarily anything wrong with that, but sometimes it's really helpful when you can outsource some tasks or delegate some things that are not that important for you personally to do. And some of the ways that I've kind of delegated tasks in my life, for example, as a mom, there are lots of things that you still have to do yourself, but things that I don't particularly enjoy doing, like for example, going to Tesco to do my whole weekly food shop with the kids in tow is not my idea of fun. And so that's why I get every single week our food shop delivered. We use the Tesco food shop delivery at the moment and it's been really great. It's not expensive at all and it just saves me so much time in my week not to have to go in the shop and do that like 2-hour food shop physically. Or it can be cleaning tasks or whatever you don't particularly enjoy doing. If you have the budget for it, then delegating things like this can be really, really helpful. One thing I'm also trying to do is to outsource a few more tasks in my business. I really want to start outsourcing some of my video editing. So if you have ever edited a video like the one you're watching right now, then I will link in the description box a form where you can apply to be a video editor for my YouTube channel. So check that out if you are interested and you would like to be a part of the team. Reduce toy clutter by doing toy rotation systems. Now, I'm not saying using a toy rotation system is gonna work, especially if you have tons and tons of toys. I have used that in the past and just the thought of swapping them around made me dizzy. So I definitely think reducing the amount of toys is really important first, but it can also be helpful once you've cut it down to a reasonable amount, or maybe you feel like you've gotten it to a pretty good place, but it still feels like it's quite a lot. And maybe it's hard for the kids to tidy. Maybe it's hard for you to manage, to just keep on top of it. And it just feels overwhelming to see them all over your floors and surfaces all day long, then a toy rotation system can be really, really helpful. So what we do is we will take some of the toys that I notice they're not really keen on anymore, but I know that they will very likely play with them again in the future because, you know, they might still be age appropriate. They might still be toys that I know they would love if they got them again in a few months' time. So I will take some of those toys and put them in a storage bin and put them either in, you know, a shed or the loft, just somewhere that's a bit out of reach. And so they don't have access to those every single day. And once in a while, I will take those down, maybe take other ones back up to the loft, just kind of rotate like that. It gives them a sense of getting new toys to play with that maybe they've forgotten about. And it also makes tidying at the end of the day so much easier and so much less stressful for everyone involved. Say no to unnecessary obligations. This has been really hard for me to do because I am a people pleaser at my core, and I feel like I've always been like that, but I'm trying to learn a lot more to prioritize my own needs as well, and also my family's needs. So I've been becoming a bit more ruthless with the things I say yes to, and I will absolutely say no in a kind way, not a rude way, to anything that, you know, maybe I'm not that interested in, maybe I don't feel like it would benefit us as a family, maybe it will take a lot of time and energy out of me, and then I won't have that energy for my kids. It's not an easy thing to do, at least not for me, but saying no to all of these things and obligations that we don't truly need to do, it's been a game changer. Batch similar tasks. This is something that's actually been really helpful. So for example, sometimes I'll film a whole bunch of videos in one day, maybe I'll film some reels for my Instagram, and I'll film lots of little clips in one day because I already have everything set up, I already have the camera set up. It's just much quicker if I can get it done in one whole batch, and then I can go and edit them when I get a chance. But batching those little tasks can really be helpful because you kind of get into a flow of doing that thing, and it just takes less time to do if you do similar tasks all at the same time. Let me know what time-saving hacks you have because I would love to hear them and maybe get some inspo, and I will see you in the next video.